my name is Ramina. I'm a Ukrainian journalist, and now we are on a Munich Security Conference YouTube studio. Here is my guest, General Carsten Breuer, Chief of Defense at the German Bundeswehr. I do interview from a front line, and I have a video question from our soldier. Could I show it to you?
Of course.
Thank you for comprehensive help and support for Ukraine from the German people during the Russian invasion in Ukraine. We want to ask you if Germany is studying an experience of using your weapon, your help in the Russo-Ukrainian war. If it is so, how it could affect for battlefield and on help for Ukraine in general.
Should I answer? Thank you so much, and thanks for this video, this take from the front line. I've been in Ukraine last week, and we were exactly discussing the question the young soldier in the front line in front of the Leopard tank was asking. So we give, and this is my first message, we give everything what we can to Ukraine. We are standing by you, we are standing shoulder by shoulder, and we are closing ranks in here. The question we discussed was really, so first we brought in the support, but nowadays we are also asking for the experience, and we asked for the experience of the soldiers doing there, but we also asked for their experience with the weapon systems, with the weapons they're using. It gives us a lot of experience to train and educate our soldiers, but even more the Ukrainian soldiers in training in Germany as well. So the answer is a clear yes, doing it in both directions.
The Munich Security Conference was created 60 years ago during the Cold War, when the Berlin Wall was built. The topic of the first security conference was defense against the aggressive Soviet Union. Now the situation is repeating. Russia has started a full-scale invasion in the center of Europe. In your opinion, why does the coalition of civilized people doesn't use more effective actions against aggressive Russia?
I guess we are really doing whatever we can to support Ukraine, and you're absolutely right. We see there are some parallels between the Cold War and the antagonists in there and our situation here. But at the same time, it's totally different. It's a brutal war. It's a brutal war of aggression coming from Russia, fighting against sovereign Ukraine and against all rule of laws. Against all our rule-based order. What you're seeing, what you're suffering in Ukraine is a suffer for entire Europe, and one has to state it very clear. And once again, the aggression is coming from Russia to this. What we are doing now is, on one hand, we are giving material, and we have seen it with the video, we are giving material as much as it is possible. We are doing financial aid. When I was in Ukraine last week, I had a package with me which contains about 102 million euro, containing weapon systems, but also armored vehicles, protect against mines, and ammunition as well. So this is one part. We are doing the training. This is the third part in it. And what I heard from the Chancellor this morning, but what I've also experienced over the last couple of weeks, that the German government is going and is trying on every single level to convince also other European states and other states of the world to support Ukraine. And I think this is the fourth part of it, and I hope it will be helpful.
I have recently been in Kharkiv region and filmed these tanks, as you see. The question is, how effective is Leopard 1 tanks in the Russian-Ukrainian war? I mean, Leopard 1 are light armored vehicles that can be destroyed very easily in a current war. But Leopard 2 may be more suited for our reality. Do you think we could have more Leopard 2 tanks instead of Leopard one?
I understand this question, and I understand definitely this question also from the soldier working and dealing with the Leopard tanks down there. What I've seen during my visit was that the soldiers were very keen on how they're also adapting the tanks for their needs over there. What I've also seen is a huge amount of mines in the fields, which limits all movement at or in the front line. And what I've seen is an aggression and also a lot of drones, a lot of aircrafts coming in. So we have a threat from the air. I guess we have to counter this threat from the air on one hand to the population in Ukraine, so to the big cities, but at the same time also to the front line. So the concept of having more IRIS-T, of having more anti-aircraft weapons in there, I think this will help to free those assets which can really decide the war in the front line.
You know, Leopard 1, it's good for nighttime, but Russians have FPV drones with night vision cameras. So one drone costs $500. Tank.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we have to deal with in this war, that we are looking in small scale and very cheap weapons, which can make the difference with or in fighting against bigger weapons, or better to say more expensive weapons in here. So what we have to do, we have to see this spiral of armament and doing it in both directions. So limiting the space for using drones on one hand is one side, and on the other side getting more drones in. I think this could help for those soldiers we have seen here in the video.
On the 8th of February, you were in Kyiv with a secret visit. At that time, you met with the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Valery Zaluzhny. After a meeting with the new Commander-in-Chief, Alexander Syrsky, you announced 100 million euros of help to Ukrainian troops. How do you currently assess the situation on the battlefield? Do you understand the tactic of new commander?
Well, I met General Syrsky the first time, and it was a very good and a very productive meeting. I think we established also a personal relationship so that we can both hopefully pick up the phone, but at least stay in close contact, just to know what he needs and what the needs of the Ukraine army is to fight this war. We had discussions about what tactics are the best tactics in there. Bear with me that I'm not conveying everything now here on the TV screen. It just would not be very helpful. But what I can see is that he is going with a concept which will make a difference in there. So I'm really convinced that he will do a good job, and I'm looking forward to work together with him.
But as a military general of the highest rank in Germany, how do you assess the actions of our military commander?
Well, you mean General Syrsky coming in here?
Syrsky is in you?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
if it said in general, I admire the bravery, not only the generals, not only the military leadership, but all soldiers, and I might say all citizens in Ukraine are bringing to this war. I think this bravery made a difference, and it brought a success to Ukraine, and we are basically we are underestimating this success at the moment. If you look into the aims or the targets of Russia, bringing it to the war at the very beginning on the 24th of February, he hasn't succeeded with us. And this is a success for Ukraine. If you look into the leadership, I'm not the one who can give any commander-in-chief who's on war fighting any advice. What I see is that they are doing a clear assessment, that they have a clear mind, and that they are putting military craftsmanship, to put it that way, military knowledge, military strategy in the right way to the front line.
You started your service 40 years ago. You know and follow the rules of the war. However, we are at war with an enemy who always breaks all rules. One of the reasons why Germany didn't want to give Ukrainian Taurus was that we can use them on the territory of the Russian Federation. What is the current position of the German government regarding Taurus cruise missiles?
Ramina, bear with me. I'm a military officer sitting here. I'm a general, and I'm not a politician. I think this is a political question, and it should stay in the political arena.
You have recently said that Putin is preparing for a long war with Europe, and Europe has 5 years to avoid it. In this perspective, what is the fate of Ukraine?
Well, I guess what I said in this interview is that we have between 5 and 8 years, because we are seeing how Putin is, on one hand, has his intention, on the other hand, has a possibility, or is growing up the military possibilities to follow his intention. And therefore, we have 5 to 8 years. As a military officer, I say, okay, go for worst case, and the worst case is 5 years. If you bring this all together, one has to see that this is a threat not only against Ukraine, but against all other European states as well. So we are standing in line together against this threat, and this is what we have to see, because geographic is not changing, and therefore we have to see intentions, we have to see possibilities, and we have to see geographic behind this, and this brings in the threat which I tried to describe with this 5 to 8 years, what I try to describe with this 5 years.
And what about Ukraine in this situation?
Well, you're part of Europe. I mean, and this is exactly, you can't divert it from each other. When you're talking about the threat in 5 years, then it is exactly the same threat to Ukraine like it is to all other states in Europe. I hope. Keep our fingers crossed and pray that this war is over until then, and that we only, in quotation marks, have to deal with the threat and not any longer with the war. But once again, we're standing by you, shoulder by shoulder, and we are doing everything what is possible to help you, to support you.
So I have the next question. According to the British Institute for the Study of War, Russia will be able to continue the war without declaring general mobilization for 2 years. And weapons they have now will be enough for next 3 years. But you know our possibilities. In your opinion, as military man, how long Ukraine will be able to continue this war?
I think we have to answer the question from a different perspective. We have seen and we have assessed exactly the same. What we are looking now into is to speed up our procurement processes. We are speeding up the production lines, and therefore getting more and more, bringing it to the front lines. And when I'm saying to the front lines, and this means to the stocks in other European and NATO countries, just to be prepared for war, and on the other hand also bringing it to the front line in Ukraine to help to end this war.
There is a discussion in our society about Ukrainian victory. Some experts say we need more people, while others said we need more weapons. For example, long-range artillery. What is your opinion on that?
If it is that easy that you say, okay, weapon or personnel, then you probably don't need a long military training and education. I think it's a mixture, and it's the right mixture to bring in. It's always the decision, okay, is it now more personal driven? Is it more now equipment driven? So this decision and how to apply strategy, how to apply operational wisdom in this, I think the commander-in-chief and all your generals have a good training, have a good training in education, and I know that all the other European countries are helping to understand this war, but also helping to get the right means in there. So it's like I said, it's not a question of if this or if that. It's a question of how to combine it best, and therefore we need good military leaders.
Thank you very much for interview, and I want to thank the German people, the government, and you personally for supporting Ukraine.
Ramina, thank you, not only for being here, but also for your engagement at the front line and what you are doing in this war. It's really a pleasure to talk to you, and I admire once again the brevity of the Ukraine people.
Oh, thank you very much.